Okay. First of all, I'd like to greet to Susana and the rest of the team for giving us the opportunity of taking part in this event. From the early beginning was a challenge for us, a very interesting challenge for us because we are not expert in this field, in all the related with underground projects, but was a good opportunity to learn about it, to research about it, and we were greatly surprised. Apart from the previous speak, where we could see and learn about different ICT new possibilities to create new business. After doing a quick research about it from our approach, that is the business development, the startups development, we were widely surprised about the fact of a very wide range of different uses of underground proposals. As you can see, let me show you in this picture, for example, as part of a marketing strategy. Here you can see in the entrance of a house in a mall center. That is like a way of calling the attention of our customer, taking advantage of an underground cave. Another example may be as a way of adaptation. Here you can see in the south of Australia, where as consequence of very high temperatures, they have developed hotels, bars, and different buildings underground to take advantage of this situation, as a way of adaptation of a rough environment. Another example could be this, that it seems to be rare, but it's real, where probably in most of the cases in relation with business development, we have found several immediate approaches in terms of touristic. For example, one of the new touristic trends as consequence of the pandemic, the global pandemic, is an example related to touristic experience, where, for example, this guy can enjoy the experience of visit a channel in Vietnam, and is related to the new trends, empowering these last touristic trends. One of them is the tourist in terms of new experience, and the empowerment of local tourism. That could be an opportunity for this region, for example, or for the underground tourist. For example, in terms of new technologies, not only the ICT technology and virtual reality, that we have found several very interesting examples. For example, here, I don't know if you know the low line projects. I see that some of them they know. For us was amazing to find that in New York has developed a patented technology to get natural light to underground places and allow to plants that allow plants to make photosynthesis, and that could generate a lot of new possibilities for a close future. Another possibilities of underground, I don't know if probably in this example is more related to underwater than underground sample. But here in Spain and in other countries, take advantage of the possibility of, for example, in other industries, like maybe winery, this condition of stability in temperatures could allow the possibility of create new procedures of maturing very interesting wines, no? And we consider that was a very creative and innovative approach. But probably after giving this very quick review of underground possibilities in terms of new business, probably the fact that called our attention the most was the number of unknown places in a relatively small region like maybe Murcia, that is not known by all the people, no? For example, in terms of caves, mines, abandoned buildings that are not considered or that nowadays are not known. And I think we thought that could be a great opportunity to develop new business model or to develop new value proposals. I think this could be a good point to introduce ourselves. We work, my colleague Nacho and me work in the Business Incubator Center of the region of Murcia. We are focused on technology-based companies, taking part in a national network that is called ANCES, and at the same time a European network that is called EBN. Our daily work is related to startups, to helping people to fundraising, to develop their business model, and I think that's why Susana and the rest of the team call us to explain or to give us the opportunity of if we could introduce some idea that can help to entrepreneurs, companies, or to develop their value proposals. We propose a business development path that is the same that we provide daily to the entrepreneurs. That is based because we consider that it's important to distinguish among different stages in the procedure of development a new business. It's not the same if we see the previous pictures. Could be difficult to distinguish because it's different. Consider an idea from adding to this idea a customer need could generate or could help us to develop a value proposition. And once we have validated this value proposition, we get a product or a service, and after this, we should develop a business model in order to make sustainable our project as a way of make it sustainable or to achieve a bigger impact. But we like to add that we consider that the most suitable or the only suitable origin of these projects in our daily conversation with the entrepreneurs should be a market need or a problem, because otherwise probably make no sense try to develop a business model. That's our approach. That's why we propose you a startup roadmap, because studying several documentation related to the underground for value projects, we have seen that this approach of lean startup is, you were being considering this lean startup approach, and we see eye to eye that could be a very suitable way to manage the project. Probably the startup roadmap that we provide to entrepreneurs is start validating the problem and the need, the market, the opportunity. That should be the first market research objective, to validate this problem. After this, to measure the market size, and continuing with market research, and after this, evaluate, try to develop the value proposition validation. That could be to measure if our solution cope with the market need. And after this, and only after this, we are telling you, speaking all these previous steps, because we consider that make no sense to think about or to explain about business development without considering, first of all, problem, and after this, value proposition validation. But that's the topic that we are called to deal with here today. Then, from our approach, consider that you should make these previous steps. All in all, considering a lean startup approach that is based on an iterative cycle, like a scientific method to reduce or mitigate the risk of launching a new business, that consists on build that from the idea, from the first step that is based on the idea, build, test, and learn about it in a iterative cycle, co-creating, that could help to co-create a value proposition in connection with customer needs. And this approach could be and should be applied not only for validate the business model, but also to validate firstly the problem, the solution, and the business model in the last step. No, that is the part that we try to cope today. And why? As I tell you before, because it's a way of mitigate the risk of launching or facing new projects and avoiding or try to don't find, for example, this picture shows an abandoned building in Japan that was get bankruptcy in 2006, because after facing the investment, no customer visit this amusement park. Then we try to apply this lean startup approach, to avoid this, to make an investment that became in an abandoned site or a new building or a new infrastructure that nobody used. And that's our proposal. There are several interesting tools that could help you to develop the business model. They are very famous and very trendy, the Canvas, and of course, business plan. And there is a very curious, controversial fight versus people that support or think that Canvas is the best tool, and other people that consider that a business plan could be much more complete or gives a lot of information. We thought that both of them are absolutely suitable in different stages. Probably the business canvas, the business model canvas or canvas, the canvas in general terms are very flexible and nice tools in a design stage, in a previous design stage, because it's fast, could be agile, is an agile tool that could be very suitable for teamwork and so on, but probably is the first step to develop after this and a suitable tool in order to validate in this iterative cycle that I told you before. But it's just the first step, and probably the numbers, the business planning, the marketing strategy, the human resources should be developed too in a business plan. But probably this controversial is, in some cases, is not same. Both of them are suitable, and both of them are needed. And after this, in the implementation, during the period of implementation of the project, we take advantage of another tools like maybe business intelligence or competitive awareness tools that should help you to control the deployment of the project. Then the idea of using both tools, the Canvas is absolutely a very good tool, and we try to, in terms of speak about business development, we try to introduce in the Canvas dynamics in order to help you to how to use it, because it's funny. It's a very funny and agile and productive tool, but in some cases is not suitably used. No, it's probably. We try to help you how to manage this canvas. Sorry. The canvas dynamics start when you see every time that you see a POSIT, you should consider that every POSIT represents an hypothesis, an hypothesis that should. I'd like to remind you that the final target of this canvas is to validate our value proposition, our business model, our problem, our solution. And after this, as consequence of this hypothesis, we should create an experiment that allow us to validate this value proposition, this problem, this initial problem that give the first step to our project, or the business model that is the last step that you should validate. Then, as you can see, the canvas, I think one of the things that makes so successful is because in most of the cases, people, entrepreneurs, thought that it's faster than a business plan. It's faster because it's just just a page and some POSIT, and a business plan in some cases is a lot of pages with numbers that entrepreneurs normally don't like very much or finds hard to develop a finance approach, a final forecasting. But you should know that it's not true, because a canvas a good use of Canvas generates a lot of work, no? In terms of experiments and in terms of validation, not only the deposit. Then when you see this very common picture, you could imagine the degree of work that you should do to validate every single POSIT that you can see here. No? And that's why when we speak with entrepreneurs, we force them to be clear, simple, to reduce and to prioritize the deposit or the hypothesis in terms of uncertainty and criticality for the project in order to optimize their resources and their time in order to make the most important experiment to validate their business and their value proposition. I like to recommend you these books of Alexander Osterwalder, very famous one, very funny, easy reading, related to business model generation, value proposition design, that has a lot of interesting tools, practical tools that you can use, for example, this text card to realize with the example of experiments to validate their proposals and to help you to reduce risk in the implementation of these projects. And as consequence of this, in this point, I'd like to give the voice to my colleague that surely could explain you these three canvas, because the most famous one is the business model canvas, but there is another very interesting one with several examples. I think Nacho could give.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Pedro. But first of all, I would like to thank Susana and the rest of the partners for inviting us to be here today. It's our pleasure to be with you. I don't know your background. We will have time after the presentation to know more. But I guess if you have worked before with startups, entrepreneurs, these tools or this canvas will sound familiar to you. We recommend, well, we and the experts recommend to work these three tools once an entrepreneur have an idea and they want to start working on it, because they are very easy and very dynamic tools, and we can learn a lot of from these tools before spending resources, time and money into developing a product or a service that the market will not need. So we would recommend to work these tools in this sequence. First of all, the empathy map. It's a really good tool to understand and to learn more about the customers and the market. Then we understand the problems and the needs that our customers have. Then we should start working on our solution and our product. We should validate our value proposition with the second tool, with the second canvas, the value proposition canvas. And then when we have, we are aware about the problem, the needs our market have, once we have validate our value proposition, then we should start thinking at that point to set up a business to make a profit from our value proposition. Okay, thank you very much. So first of all, the empathy map, the dynamic, it's very similar to the rest of the tools. With POSIT, we should complete the canvas, answering all these questions, and as you can see, it's about knowing our customers. Think about what they hear, what they think and feel, what they see, or what they say and do, and how do we have to do it. We recommend, and it's something that our entrepreneurs sometimes hate to do, it's go out of the building. I mean, we recommend them to go to the street, try to reach the customers and to have a direct contact with them in order to know them deeper and answering all these questions. So the idea of the tool is to visualize the attitudes and the behaviors of the customers. Okay, so it's a good start point to gain a deeper insight of our customers. Well, then the second tool, and is the next one in the sequence, is the value proposition canvas. It's a canvas which is divided into blocks. On the right side we have the customer block, and on the left side we have the value block. Each block is divided in 3 areas. On the right side, it will be easier for us to complete this part if we have done before the empathy map, because it's about to complete the customer jobs, which means the problem that our customer have or the needs they want to solve. And the other 2 blocks, the gains, are the benefits that the customer want to achieve, and the pains are the experiences, the emotions, the risks that they feel when they want to they have with their problems or their needs. And on the left side, about the value block, we have just the product and the services that we are offering to the market, and we have the gain that we are achieving and offering to the market with our product and services, and the pain relievers. So the idea of this template, of this canvas, is to ensure the fit between our value proposition and the market needs. So it's important to understand and to validate before spending money and time, which are very worthy resources. It's important to ensure that the fit, that we are offering something, or we are sending something into the market that the market really needs, and our customers will pay for it. So here you have a completed example of the value proposition canvas. Is the fit between the product and our product and the market, and there you can see that like the dynamic is almost the same, completed with posits, with hypotheses, and then we should validate all these hypotheses. And the last one, the third tool, is the business model canvas, which is maybe the most famous one. And this is something that entrepreneurs a lot of times do bad, because they sometimes start completing or start working this tool, this canvas, before working the other ones, the former ones. But well, this is like the result of our market validation, and after our product and services validations, then if we have achieved this product market fit, we start working this canvas to really understand how we can set up a new business and how we can make profit from it. Well, the tool is divided in 9 areas, in 9 blocks. This is the sequence that we usually recommend the entrepreneurs that we work with to complete the tool. And in a smooth explanation, first of all is the customer segment. If we have worked before the empathy map, it will be easier for us because we have a deeper insight about who our really customers are. Then we have the value propositions, which means what we are offering to the market, but what makes us different from our competitors. It's not about only thinking about the product or the service, it's about what makes us different and why our customers will pay for it. Then the channels, how the company will reach the customers, how the customers will know about our product or services. The fourth one is the customer relationships. We have contact our customers, we have clients. How will be the relations between the company and the clients? The fifth one is the revenue streams, maybe one of the most important ones. And we should decide how the startup or the project will monetize the product or services, and how the company will earn money. And the sixth and the seventh area are the key activities and key resources. It's everything that should be essential to run the business. We should think about the activities, which activities we need to do to set up the business and to run the business, and then the resources that are really important to develop and to create a strong product and service. The next one is the partners, the key partners. We should think about which stakeholders should be relevant to be in contact with for just developing a good project, no? to set up a really strong project. And the last one is the cost structure, that is about all the costs that the project will have. And this is an example. I don't know if you have ever heard about Jameos del Agua. It's like a natural and volcanic cave in Lanzarote, in the Canary Island. It's one of the most touristic places in the island, and I found like a very interesting example of an underground business model, because you can experience there a lot of activities, from eating into a restaurant into the cave to have a walk through the different paths, and also attend musical and cultural performances in the auditorium. So we have done internally this business model canvas for Jameos del Agua. This is something that we would like to share with you. We have sent the presentation to Susana, so if you want to go deeper, you will have the business model canvas there. But just one, for example, if we go to the customer section, we should think who will be the people who will attend who will go to the cave. So we thought about music lovers, local people, middle-aged, who really are music lovers, music fans, and they want to go there to attend our really top performances. Or maybe tourists, maybe national, middle-aged, married. There are like demographic characteristics that should be very beneficial for the startup to identify, to know more about the clients. So here you have like different example, and the value proposition is not only offering the cave, offering the space. We should think more about it. It's about offering an unforgettable experience, an exclusive evening, combining gastronomy, music, and a natural and unique environment. So it's like not only think about the place and the product and the service, it's about the attributes and the added value that we are offering into the market. So you can check the canvas in later. This is another good example that we found. These pictures are the San Joseph caves, which are located in Castellón, east of Spain. And I like this example because it's a really good example of the digitalization and technology adoption into the business. In in the last years, the caves introduced different software developments and experiences, for example, virtual reality, and they backed the project with different software for ticketing, QR, Wi-Fi. So this means that they have thought about the customers and they want to improve the customer's experience, giving them or leveraging this experience within the technology. They also make it 100% accessible, not only for people who have a mobility problem, but also for deaf people with the sign language. And the result of all of these actions, it is you can see that they have more than, I don't know if you can see well, but they have more than 11,000 reviews in Google business site with a rate of 4.6, which means that they have a really good visibility in internet. And remember, it's not only important to be online, but also to have a really strong visibility in the website. So they have done a very good job with the branding, with the web, and with different paid campaigns to really have a strong position. Well, yeah, and just another good example that I think all of you, if you are keen on the topic, you have ever heard about it, is the Canfranc Underground Labs. It's another example of how a former railway station have now the uses to research and development activities. Well, and just we are arriving to the end of the presentation. We want to keep in mind this idea. If we are thinking about validation tool for new businesses, please think about these three tools that we have talked about. First one, the empathy map. The second one is the value proposition canvas, and the third one is the business model canvas. Conclusions. I think Pedro told you before, but please, for all of the projects should have a customer-centric vision. It means that in the center of the project should be the problems and the need that the customer have. Then the validation process is very critical. It's important to validate the problem, the solutions, and of course the business model. And for sure, the product market fit, it is linked with the sustainability of the project. If we don't find this fit, we are offering something into the market that it will be a fail because nobody will pay for it. And just the last one, think about technology and new innovative adaptations into the project. Okay, so that's all from our side, and thank you all of you for your time.
Thank you for this very clear presentation. We are all looking for a detailed explanation of Canvas, and we get it, so thank you very much. We achieved our goal. Thank you. I know that Esther will send us the right people, so thank you for that. And yes, I see one hand. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to thank you for your effort to enter in the underground built heritage and showing us examples and also ways of thinking about, I don't say solutions, but value proposition, potentiality for also for new creation of activities. But my question is, how do you think this approach from the business side could enter in a participatory process where you have many other kind of values to share, and many times you have no well-identified stakeholders? So I don't know if I'm clear, but when you start a process like this, sure, you could have a private with the willingness to invest in a certain kind of heritage, but you can have conflicting situations between business, cultural needs, religious needs, maybe also, let's say, structural needs. And at which point of the process we could have, let's say, this starting of the business idea that is very important then for having a general sustainability of the process? That's my question.
That's a very good question, probably difficult to answer, because that's the question that every entrepreneur was wondering every day. It's difficult to know how is the best time to start the next step. How we could know that our value proposition are validated in order to make the investment. Probably all this approach is a very practical approach and is based in most of the cases in conjectures and in targets or ranges that the entrepreneur should fix in the early beginning, and after doing the experiment, compare these initial figures that I consider that give me the okay to start with investment are fixed before start the experiment, and is in most of the cases are objective and are, although should be based on market research, not absolutely aleatory, but it's just a figure to start doing to start facing next step. The final mission of this approach is to reduce the uncertainty, trying to mitigate risk, but uncertainty is impossible to always exist. It's just a way of trying to apply a scientific approach, creating a small experiment. When we start speaking with entrepreneurs, the description of experiment is something that has a budget, that could has a budget of, for example, 100 euros, and something that you can deploy during a week or during 2 weeks at maximum, because in this cycle, and this thing I didn't tell you before, the key is that you should do it very fast. This iteration, you should do it very fast in order to learn fast and cheap, with the final target of reduce uncertainty, but the risk is always there. No? Then the topic is how to reduce or not create this amusement park with a several million euros investment before speaking, without speaking with some customer, making a surveys. Or when we start with entrepreneur, not only surveys, probably could be more proactive, a personal interview with people in order to face their customer, to see their face, with open question in order to know their really needs. And when we speak about problem and solutions, we consider a problem could be, in this example, problems in general terms. A problem could be, as Nacho told us before, I need a new experience, a new touristic experience, or new participant. I need a connection with local people. That could be the problem, the opportunity, the need, because in some cases, this work could confuse us. It's not in some cases, the problem is not a pain. Could be again, like Nacho tell us before. Probably I'm right with the present offers, but I need something more. That could be the opportunity to validate. I don't know if I give you a little picture about your question of I like to do. Sorry?
This is, at the end, is a cultural approach. So I think more than creating a building block about business planning and so on, we could introduce this approach as a part of the process. A sort of starting from the idea, from the searchlight moment, also it could be part of the mapping of the stakeholders and the engagement. Selecting also customers, final users in the development of the co-creation phase, for example. So starting up the Living Lab. When we do Living Labs, we work a lot with post-its. So it could be part of the process, not something isolated. Then, okay, the business plan is a step, is a building block then. But if we use it, and maybe we can do then in the toolbox of the underground build heritage, it shouldn't be an isolated part, but it should be part of the process from the start to the end.
Yes.
I think in a certain kind of flexible way, because you can use one tool and another according what kind of stakeholders, what kind of size, what kind of project. I think you answer me.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes, just to add a few words, of course you are right. We understand the startup road, or the startup lifetime like a long race. So we have told before today about just the very beginning process. We recommend the startups to make like little steps, step by step, but the very beginning, when they have an idea, should be think about the validation process. And of course, inside the validation process should be all the legal, cultural, and everything that will affect to the project. But we think that entrepreneurs should think first about what they want to do in the terms on what they have to think about. I have to talk with, I don't know, the public government. I have to talk with this cultural association. I have to talk with this person or that person. They have to think about first and then go to talk with them before just invest. This is like our worry, that we have seen a lot of people investing too much money and time developing something that it's a fail. And this is what we want to share with you, that I guess you have experience, but this is the point or the idea that do the work, do the previous work, and then keep going and making the next steps. But first, of course, should cultural, legal, I don't know, different point of views or different aspects of the project should be linked and connected, and entrepreneurs should work on them.
Yeah. Hello, hi. Thank you very much for your presentation. I have also a very tricky question, because in heritage, we are working with public goods. They are not supposed to produce any revenue. And, when we speak about public goods, it's a service, it's a product as well, but it's also very difficult to quantify, especially in terms of money, what are their benefits. We have been working on another project. We did this exercise, produce a business plan, and we use Canvas for green spaces development. It's very hard, because the more deeper you go, the less concrete data you have, because you cannot just quantify the benefits you get from them. They are clear, we know these benefits, but it's very difficult to quantify them. So the more deeper you use it, the less, let's say, the bluer it gets. So how you see this, how to work with public goods that they are not supposed to produce any revenue, or not the main objective is to produce a revenue and produce a business model. For us, it's very tricky and very challenging as well.
Thank you for your question. It's a very interesting one too. In the beginning of the speak, we start saying precisely facing this topic, because in some cases with public buildings, it is not clear a business model or a target based on profits. Our approach is to trying to introduce this business approach, this business orientation as a way of, for example, in a social project, to guarantee the sustainability of the project and to guarantee the deeper impact of this social project, because getting a customer-related income is probably could help that this initial investment, although comes from governmental budgets, could help us to ensure that could be maintaining in the future, in the long term, because initially you can implement the initial project as consequence of subsidy of a governmental budget, but after this, if you don't have validate the customer need, if you don't have the certainty that there is someone over there that is willing to pay for this service, it's difficult to guarantee in the long term that this project could continue. That's our point of view. I don't know if Nacho.
Do you have any other comment from the floor? Okay.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to clarify something. On one of the slides at the very start of your presentation, you were speaking about the need to validate your business model prior to doing the market analysis. Did I get it right? I'm not speaking about the market research. I'm speaking about the market analysis. There was a slide where you said you have to go step by step and you have to validate your business model, and then you have to apply the tools of market analysis, such as PESTEL, the 5 forces by Porter, SWOT, and the like. Did I get it right? It was listed as bullet points, or was it not listed in the, order? Yeah, it was at the beginning. Yeah, over here. Yes. Hold on. Yeah. So you're saying that, the step number 5 is that you validate your business model and then you develop your business plan, right? I find it rather unusual. I'm not saying this is wrong, but I find it rather unusual because I've been taught always that you need to develop the business plan straight at the beginning, and you need to understand your market. And again, I'm not speaking about the market research. In the following slides, you were speaking about customers, and I understand that, the whole idea of the canvas approach is centered on customers. But you need to understand the market, you need to understand your competitors, right? And I find it rather unusual that you're proposing to validate your business model before looking at what your competitors do. So I wonder if you could please elaborate a bit more on this point.
I would like to say that this is not, there is no clear path to do everything. It's not mandatory to do in one way. What we are recommending is to work on all these tools just at the very beginning. Of course, all the market research should be also done at that point of the stage of the project. But I think it's connected. We should start, as you said, we should start validating our customers, our solution, and the business model. But it's not. I think in the process of this validation, you are also validating the market. I mean, these are like linear actions or actions done in the same time. It's not like you have to do this first. Maybe it's misunderstanding this slide, but this is something that you have done or you should do in more or less the same frame of time.
May I add some point? We like to consider that market research is a continuous procedure for entrepreneurs from the early beginning. The main point of the key point of this slide, probably more than the order, is to take advantage of agile tools from the early beginning, taking advantage precisely of this agility of using the canvas, because you can move, you can pivot faster than in a business plan, and to contact with the entrepreneur as soon as possible from the early beginning. Then the process of making a market research is continuous and from the beginning. Probably the key point is the sources. It's related to the sources that you should use in order to get the information. Our recommendation is to introduce direct personal interviews with entrepreneurs from the early beginning. And probably the Canvas is a suitable tool to make this effort. But the process of analyze competence and so on is, as my colleague said, is continuous and necessary, of course. You have the reason.